morning, Amor. I'm so privileged with your welcome in your parish. I thank you not just for the welcome you give to me, but throughout the Archdiocese, there are missionaries from diverse organizations and congregations visiting your parishes. And this welcome means so much to folks who are working to serve others. You have no idea, and so I wanted to make sure that I got that across. As Father said so beautifully, my name is Teresita Gonzalez, and I come to you today from Amor and Accion in the Archdiocese of Miami. It means love in action. Amor and Accion is a lay missionary group, and we work in preparing groups for short-term mission of experiences of 2 weeks or longer, inviting people to a deeper understanding and reflection on mission. We serve communities in Dominican Republic and in Haiti, much like you all do, in projects that respond to long-term and urgent needs. I have been with Amor and Accion now for 23 years, and I've experienced a great deal of diversity of people and journeys of faith, as well as many disasters and suffering endured with great love and hope. Now, as I read the readings today, it occurred to me that, my goodness, Elijah has a Cuban grandmother, because the angel was very persistent. The angel kept saying, here's your food at first, you know, just like my grandmother used to do, and then a little stronger, now get up and here's your food. My grandmother always thought I was too skinny and that I needed strength for the journey. Levántate, life is before you. And I guess she had a sense of that because she made so many sacrifices so I could have that life, that I think angels like Elijah experienced, those angels in our life feed us with enthusiasm. So a few weeks ago in the readings, Elijah was confident. He was telling his servant that the little bit of food that they had could feed whatever many thousands they had before them. And here he is, from being the picture of confidence to today, he's a total mess. He needs himself nurturing. How many of us can totally relate to that? I guess that is how it is quite often in our own faith journey. Sometimes we are up, and sometimes we're down. So a few weeks ago was about go and feed, and this week is about taste and see. In the missionary world, which is the fundamental purpose of our lives, we can sometimes be confident and trusting in God, and then at times need to be renewed ourselves. The readings today remind us of the hope that we share will nurture us as well. To have hope is not some exercise in positive thinking or a futile denial of reality, but rather to live reality with the certainty that God is with us, that God will provide. Whether it comes from the mystery of bushels of bread and few fish that just don't seem to run out, or the hands of angels and Cuban grandmothers, or small miracles of others in our midst that make a difference in our daily life. It isn't magic, but rather confidence in God's love for the world that defines hope. A love shared restores us all. Mission can take us to faraway places to meet the face of Christ in the other. These can be geographically far, like Dominican Republic or Africa or Haiti, or places right here that are just interpersonally or economically separated, like the homeless in our community or those culturally different new members of our communities. The margins can be found everywhere. And when we venture to cross over them, it can be difficult, but there, in this place of vulnerability and risk, where we place ourselves, when we are open to God and to sharing the love of God, it is there that oftentimes God is waiting to speak. Now, I get the opportunity to go out of my comfort zone quite a bit. I guess you could say this is a little out of my comfort zone. And most often, the very people I come to serve transform me in many ways that I'm not expecting. One such person is Lucia. Now, Lucia was a woman living in Dominican Republic in a very poor barrio with her 5 children. It was a dense and difficult place. She had lived a life of abuse and poverty, now raising 5 children. To some in our society, Lucia's life might seem something of a disappointment, since she never learned to read or write, and different men lived in her home with no regard for her or her children, as often happens to women in poverty. A member of our group, Pepita, she had grown very close to Lucia over the years visiting. And on one such visit, we went first to see the Franciscan sisters in the area, and they told us that Lucia was suffering an especially bad time. They had given her a small pot of rice to last her the week to feed her children. We were very concerned, and Fafita was eager to visit her, and so we did, going through the countless wooden shacks. Deep in narrow walkways, the stench of open sewage and dirty streams accompanied us. Lucia was delighted to see us when we arrived and began chatting happily like she does. But none of us could take our eyes off of the scene that played before us on the dirt floor. There, eating from one pot of rice, were not 1 or 2 or 5 children, but a little more like 12. Pepita was immediately impatient seeing all those children eating from the same bowl of rice. And she casually asked Lucia in a tone kind of critical, "Lucia, are these all your children?" Lucia caught the message quickly. She didn't miss a mark. "No," she responded, "they are not. But they are also hungry. And doesn't the church and the Bible teach us to share?" There was a lot of silence after her response. Lucia was inefficiently unconcerned about tomorrow, because her hope and joy was today. Today, she was an instrument of God, a lot like the angel that fed Elijah and my Cuban grandmother. But that day, she also fed us. For Lucia, her poverty and misery did not limit her from being bread for others. It was a matter of fact, not an elaborate community service project or something she did to boost her self-esteem. She just did. Because in her life, God simply is. The word so incarnate in her habitual living that it just happens. I want to achieve that. I want to think less and be more. I want to be fed by the Eucharist on Sunday and embrace the Eucharist in every form whenever I come across it. I started with Lucia. Sometimes the Christ story comes in real time, and it's no more words that sound like good suggestions or utopic aspirations, but life, leaping from a sacred page. Sometimes that story comes alive, and you with it. Sometimes the challenge leaves you no option but to change. Were it not for Lucia, who was like the angel that awakened and fed Elijah, I wouldn't be quite who I am today. Now, I share this story with you in memory of Lucia, of the Christ I met in her, that in spite of limitations of health and poverty, she still made herself available to be a sign of hope for others. I share it with you in the hopes that it will be life-giving to you too, that it might motivate you in your own call, for mission is always with us in every time and season of our lives. And I come to give you thanks in advance for whatever generosity you can share with us today. You all have a yellow envelope in your pews. And whatever generosity you shared today, I thank you on behalf of 4,500 kids in Haiti and Dominican Republic who are able to eat and learn, over 4,000 families who benefit from water projects, 120 teachers who earn their livelihood for families, 30 rural schools that survive, coffee farmers that thrive, all because of the generosity of compassion of someone like you, who, though far away, celebrates life in the Eucharist in community and solidarity with them. The Table of Hope is our biggest project. There in the Table of Plenty, like here, like in Lucia's dirt floor, we are all invited to break bread. It is where hope is restored. Look to him that you may be radiant with joy. Taste and see the goodness of the Lord. Thank you.